Lesson 101, Minuet 1 by Johann Sebastian Bach, bass. So this is the complementary lesson for the melody that we learned in number 100 of Learn Violin Fast Book 2. This is the bass. This is what the left hand would play on the keyboard. Remember, this was written by Bach for his students, and this is how he taught his kids and his own students. This was written originally for keyboard, so there's a melody typically in the right hand, there's a bass accompaniment in the left hand, but that's not always the case. Very often the bass will have melody and the right hand accompany, and it's a pretty democratic process. So bass doesn't mean a boring part. Very often it just means it's the foundation of the low notes. So typically it doesn't have as fast moving notes, but it doesn't mean that the bass does not have a melody. Okay, so we're gonna play through, and then we're going to discuss any challenges that you might encounter. You'll notice there's very similar, it has to be in the same time signature, and it's very similar technique. There's hook bowing, there's half notes, whole notes. You'll notice how the bass is mostly on the G string and a little bit of D string, right? But the melody is higher up on A and E strings with some E string. So here's the bass. We're going to find the first note. I can see my open G vibrating. I can hear it, I can see it. I know I'm in tune. 101, Minuet 1, bass. We're ready, set. So the bass part really is actually a lot easier here. Probably the most challenging part is the rests and the long notes. You can't skip those. You got to make sure you count, because while the bass rests and has those long notes, the melody has something a lot more interesting. All right, so the beginning of this bass part, the bass actually has the melody. It has, or I guess I should say a more interesting part because the notes are moving, versus 3 in the melody, okay? So if you are able to play with a friend, that would be fantastic. And that is where you would actually develop musicianship skills, by making sure that if one person plays super loud and the other person plays very quiet, that's not good balance. So one thing that you have to learn how to do when you play with others is blending and making sure that every part can be heard. And then also having a conversation about, well, what is the melody and what should be the most prominent part of what we're playing? Those are all fun things to do. And probably one of my most favorite activities is to play with friends, play chamber music or orchestra music, and you get to figure out how to just create this beautiful sound and music. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson.